Hi Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your November 8th, 2022 total lunar eclipse reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. This cleanse and meditation will be accompanied by a loud sound. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Now before we start, let Divinity God bless this reading, keeping all that is light, love, and kindness forward, and banishing all that is darkness. Okay, so let's see the energy that we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. We have the Six of Cups. Now, Scorpio, it's not surprising that we can have a tendency to get caught in the past, and that's what the Six of Cups is really showing us here. This is a time, and this lunar eclipse is a time that's very profound for us, because this is a time of Scorpio. The sun is in Scorpio, the moon is in Taurus. These are sister signs. So Taurians can bring out the absolute best in us, and they can bring out the worst in us, just as sisters can. And so this moon can do the exact same thing. It can bring out the best in us, or it can bring out the worst in us. Let's talk about this moon for just a moment. This is a very big deal, full moon, because of its correlation with the lunar eclipse, of it also being a lunar eclipse. This will last, the effects of this will last for 6 months. So we will see this not only today, but we will see this, on the 8th of November, but we'll see this for 6 months to come, everything that is coming forward. Now, the full moon and the total lunar eclipse create closure. They complete their completion. They're all about things coming to an end and new beginnings, things coming together and coming to an end. They are also about what needs to be shown, okay? What needs to be shown that has been hidden. A light is shown on what needs to be seen, what needs to be understood, and what has been hidden from us that we haven't been aware of. Also about secrets being revealed. The sun in Scorpio is our need to go into the dark so that we can bring to light what needs to be brought to the light. That's going to be very important to us. Because we are Scorpios ourselves, it's going to be doubly important to us. So we can find that we dive very deeply into things. Surface level just isn't going to be okay with us. All right? Scorpio is complex. Right? We are, when it comes to money, we're the investments. We're the money that you don't see every day, don't deal with every day. Taurus is much more straightforward. It is the money that goes into our bank accounts. It is what we pay for every day. So that's going to be the difference here. We're very complex. Taurus, much more straightforward, much more, kind of the meats and potatoes of things. Now, with an eclipse is usually near the north or the south lunar node, right? This eclipse is near the north lunar node. And with it being near the north lunar node, not only is this time about endings, but this time is about the beginnings that are created from these endings. And so there is a power here of creation that we are also going to be utilizing. So let's see what the tarot has to say. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. angels, and spirit guides show me clearly. Okay, so what's interesting here is that we only have one minor arcana card that isn't a court card. We are crowned with the Queen of Swords. We then have the Devil, the Three of Swords, the Lovers, and the Magician. So you can see these. That's the sword, and that is the Queen right down there. I know people like to be able to see this. This is the Devil right there. The Three of Swords, the Lovers, and the Magician. There's something magical that's coming into our lives, and that needs to be acknowledged. It's almost like there's a line right here running through things. The Queen of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So if we're born on the cusp with Libra, if we have strong air sign energy within our chart, that part of our personality is going to come out very powerfully. But also we're going to find that we're focusing on the words, okay? We are listening. There's going to be a great deal of listening. There's going to be a great deal of taking things in and kind of seeing if what people say and what they actually do aligns. So do know that you're going to be rather sensitive to this. And this can make things a little bit more intense because people might be lying to us, not realizing that they're lying because they think, oh, I'm telling the truth, and it's not how it is, because we're remembering so much during this time. The Queen of Swords is also us having a power over our voice. We are going to find that we have a voice more now than we have had before. We are going to find that we are authoritative within ourselves, that we stand up for what we want, and that we have a clearer vision of how we want to be moving forward and where we want to be. The Devil is showing what we're addicted to, okay? That can really bring us down during this time. Addictions, alcohol, drugs, sex, food, whatever it is, our addictions can really bring us down. And so we have to be aware of that. During this time, whatever energy you feed, okay, whether it be positive or negative, is so important because it builds and builds and builds. It almost takes on a life of its own, like a beating heart. So just be very aware of this. With the Three of Swords, the Three of Swords is heartbreak, pain, and disappointment. It is the pain in our lives that we haven't been able to move on from, or to say, I acknowledge that this happened, but I don't let it rule me. That can be something that's very difficult here to come to terms with. So being aware of this is going to be very important. This pain is around love, okay? Also in addiction, okay? It can be a lover that was like a drug to us, okay? It can be a situation where the person got a little bit, stalkery, a little bit too intense. So just be aware of that. It's also a position that brought us a lot of pain. We could have been naive or young or, really believed what the person said and thought, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. And then it wound up not being. So just be aware of that. There is a magic coming to us. We're starting to realize our potential. We're starting to realize the greatness of us. As a Scorpio, as a person who walks the veil between the worlds, okay, the waking world and the subconscious world, we can have a hard time embracing our own magic and embracing what we really love within our lives because we can be taking on so much. We're going to have a tendency during this time to look at the past, okay, and that past, because as Spirit is showing here, there's like a line between these two cards, these two sets, right? And there's the sense of the past comes forward and we can be absolutely eaten up by it. So we have to be very mindful of this. We can also find that we're dealing with heartbreak during the Capricorn season, okay? So from December 22nd to January 19th, we might find that a lot of heartbreaks, pains, disappointments come to the surface. That a lot of things that we have buried, because it's a time where what has been buried, what has been hidden away, is brought to the light. It's brought to the light by our own hands. Sometimes it's brought to the light by people we'd rather not see. So just be aware of that. Or that we didn't see, bringing things to the light. There is a pain that we need to acknowledge. If we do not acknowledge this pain, we can be absolutely overcome by it. Because we are embracing strength and tenacity, that's going to be quite brilliant. All right, so there's a power to us. There's a connection here with Gemini energy. There's a duality moving us forward. There can be a connection to love, but there is also a connection to the duality of ourselves. The the questioning and the answering, the seeking and the finding. There is a balance coming forward to us that hasn't been there before, and it's embracing different aspects of what we love and what we desire and how we need to be moving forward. With the Magician, we are going to find magic in what we love, in what we need, and in who we are. There is a sense of the spark of the divine coming in and very much being acknowledged within us. We have this sense that there is more going on here than meets the eye. We're absolutely right. But this is a time where we're starting to acknowledge our skills, we're starting to acknowledge what we desire, and we're starting to acknowledge our way of moving forward. And that becomes a very beautiful thing, a very brilliant thing, a very powerful thing for us. There is a change in what we're seeing here and what we're focusing on, and there is a way that we are starting to find ourselves moving forward from being stuck. Now, we can fall in love with somebody during this time, though Spirit is still showing that there is a healing that needs to be done from pain from past relationships. So if we don't acknowledge this, we will not fully be able to move forward in what we love. And the past relationships don't have to be necessarily romantic ones. It can be at work, it can be, with creating something, it can be in a lot of different areas. There is a sense here of needing to acknowledge what hasn't gone right in our lives in order for us to really see what we want, what we love, and how it has hurt us, because we're going to start to see a pattern, and that's going to be very good. We're very good right now of seeing patterns, of noticing the finer details in things. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ha! Okay, so I laughed because it's the north, not the north lunar node, it's the void of course that's coming forward. It says nothing will come of this. What we expect from this time is not going to be what happens. So Scorpio, we can kind of take our expectations and throw them out the window. Okay, we can take how we will carefully plan for everything, throw it out the window. Okay, there's a complexity here that's moving us forward. That's why we're also armed as we move forward. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Okay. What's interesting here and what needs to be acknowledged is that we have very little patience with ourselves. We will be very caring and compassionate when it comes to other people, but there's a kind of a sentiment when it comes to us. It's kind of like, well, put on your big girl pants or big boy pants and just move forward. Stop complaining. Stop, belly aching. What happened has happened, and now I need to just move on. So we need to be aware of that, because we need to be patient with ourselves to realize that we are the key to unlock so much, and surrendering to the divine, to what we love, to what we need in our lives, and calling on the abundance of realizing our own spark, realizing our own magic is going to be important. We can worry, and we will have a tendency to worry. We can turn our hair gray, overnight. It almost feels like, with the fear and the worry and the apprehension. Nothing will come from that. Nothing. I mean, here we have nothing will come from this situation. When we have the void of course, and you can look up the void of course for, the whole entire year, or, the end of the year and this year and the next year to come. And we can try to prepare for it as best we can, but this is how the universe throws us curveballs. This is when we think we've planned for everything, and then something happens, and we're like, what the heck is even going on here? So just be very aware of this with the void of course. Why we are having to be armed, why we're having to trust in our own instincts and abilities, and what we've kind of been trained in by the world, is because things aren't going to go smoothly. Things aren't going to go as we planned. So it's going to be more intense than we thought. And it moves us to the realization, as we break free of our addictions, or as we acknowledge our addictions, we are the key to so much. That acknowledgement is the key to so much. That, understanding is the key to so much that moves us forward, that blesses us, that has us seeing things so differently. The devil is showing us what we need to release. The devil is showing us what needs to be, taken away. And as we acknowledge that, we're going to be acknowledging the fears that we carry and the way that we are trying to run from them. This is a time where we look those fears dead on. That's why we are the warrior queen here. When we look those fears dead on and say, you know what, that's it. I'm done being afraid. And we start to unlock a door. We have to have patience. We're going to want things to happen overnight. We just are. We're going to want things to move forward in a very certain way. And we're not going to realize that we still have some healing that we need to do in order to fully embrace what we want, to understand where we're going. There needs to be an acknowledgement. There needs to be a healing. There needs to be a cleansing. And there also needs to be a looking at the pain that we carry and saying, I see you, I honor you, but I'm not defined by you. It brings us then to the Lovers. And the Lovers here, Gemini energy, is surrendering to the duality of us, surrendering to the intensity of us, surrendering to the fact that not everything can be seen or understood, and we can't reason it all out, and that's okay. There's also a surrender to our love and our passion and our desires for ourselves, our world, and where it is that we want to be. There's looking at things and knowing that it's a lot more complex than what it seems at the surface. And we are going to see things to be, again, rather straightforward. We're going to be like, this is how it needs to be. Nothing is as it appears during this time. The more we understand that, the more we accept that, the more successful we will be, the more powerful we will be, and the better off we will be. There's an abundance in our magic. There's an abundance in our blessing. There's an abundance to us. We need to acknowledge that. I don't mean this to sound rude, because what Spirit is saying is that there's a victim mentality that comes forward that is being shattered during this time. There's a real sense of strength that we're really starting to acknowledge within ourselves. And so we're changing the game. We're changing the outcomes. But we need to acknowledge our own strength, our own power, and our own insight. With the Magician, we are starting to see the magic of us. We're starting to see the beauty of us. We're starting to see the power of us. And again, that's the game changer here. But this is standing before the altar of our existence and understanding our worth, understanding our blessings. Not maybe all at once, but little by little by little, really starting to see how we're moving forward and where we need to be. It moves us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. We need to be mindful during this time of the Chariot. Now, this is Cancer energy, but this is our emotions getting the best of us. This is the moon, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, lending us towards being wild. One time I was in the hospital, and I was getting like a CAT scan. I don't remember what happened, or some sort of scan, and the person was talking about the full moon, and he was saying, oh my gosh, you missed the full moon, to the person sitting next to him. He's like, all the crazies always come out, everything bad always happens during the full moon. This is what this card is saying. That's the imagery that just came up, and that happened like so long ago. This is the imagery that's coming up. It's like, we will say, oh my gosh, the full moon just makes things crazy. And Spirit's like, yeah, it does. We need to know not to fall victim to it, okay? Because we're going to feel that crazy energy coming forward. Our subconscious Luna and Tarot message. Our trust. Trust in yourself enough to show the world the real you. That's going to be really hard. It really is. But we have here the Three of Cups. It is time for us to start really embracing and surrounding ourselves with the people who love us, the people who care for us, the people who want us to succeed. It has been long enough that we have trusted in and relied upon the wrong people and called friends people who just really weren't. Now we're going to start to see ourselves moving forward in a very profound and beautiful way. But we have to trust our healing energy. We have to trust our loving energy. We have to trust the compassionate. And I see it as being much more quiet, much more gentle. We might be very drawn at times to the chaotic, and that's when the devil can be taking over. And we are filling up ourselves with just noise and clatter and chaos. And that means, okay, we have to step back. We have to center ourselves again. And we have to embrace the calm, the peace, and the blessings. All right, Scorpio. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as we embrace the power, intensity, and beauty of this total lunar eclipse, of this full moon, and of ourselves. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. forward in peace and in harmony. Scorpio, may you have a blessed lunar eclipse and full moon. God bless.